Hi, Param. So, great. You've got more essays. I'm really excited to see that. I know you want some specific instructions and information about grammar and vocabulary. So let's see what I could help you with today. Okay, this is about employees switching jobs or staying in the same one. Let's see what you wrote. The issue of whether it is better for workers to stick to a single job throughout their lifetime or to swap to a different one is widely debated. In my considered opinion, employees generally should serve under a single employer for inevitable growth, in position as well as in pecuniary terms, whereas skilled workers are advised to switch jobs to enrich their job profiles. This essay will review both views using examples from an EU survey and IMF research. All right, I'm a little confused because on the one hand, you're saying employees should stay with the same employer. Okay, but then you said skilled workers should switch jobs. So that's not entirely clear to me. I mean, aren't skilled workers employees as well? So I'm a little confused about this differentiation here, what you mean by this. I also wasn't in love with this expression, inevitable growth. I mean, why is growth inevitable? Some people stay very stationary. So I didn't really care for this word. I didn't feel it was appropriate. I felt like you were just trying to just throw it in there, really, without it particularly applying in this case. Okay? Let's see what you wrote, though. Maybe this differentiation will be clear to me later. On the one hand, there is ample evidence to favor that people who work only for the same employer during their lifetime, you don't need a comma here, move up the ladder not only in designation but also in salary due to their growing trust in the company. Careful. When you have a growing trust in something, it means that the employee trusts the company more. Okay? And I don't think that's what you mean. In other words, employees who keep on changing their workplace are less likely to grow in comparison, as alternate companies usually start offering. Let me read that again. As alternate companies usually offer starting positions. For example, a survey conducted by the EU in the hotel industry showed that even if an employee joined at any low-profile job and that's the wrong word there, and remained there for a longer period, besides obvious benefits, all right, you need a comma here, remained there for a longer period, comma, besides obvious benefits, has 63% more chances to get a key management position in the future than a highly qualified new appointee. In addition, a loyalty bonus, gratuity, or a golden parachute could be considered in one's favor if one has devoted his life to a single corporation. Therefore, it is clear beyond doubt that a significant growth with time is inevitable for those who do not switch jobs. There's that word inevitable again. So my first comment is about this word inevitable. I again don't think it's particularly appropriate. I think it would have been more appropriate to say it is clear beyond doubt that significant growth with time is likely for those who do not switch jobs. You don't want to make these overarching statements, okay? So kind of hedge your bets and say things like this, like it's likely that this will happen, rather than saying, oh, it's inevitable. It's, because that's not particularly true. We don't know that. Okay, now let's talk a little bit about the development here. It was fine. I didn't love the fact that you argued the opposite in order to kind of highlight your point of view. You said that they have a growing trust in the company when they stay in the same jobs, and then you say, in comparison, people who keeps changing will get a starting job rather than, something higher level. So that's not really the way I want you to argue this. If you're going to argue something, argue that. Don't argue the opposite of the opposite. I don't know if that makes sense. So stick to something that supports your argument rather than why the other argument is not valid, at least in this portion of the essay. Now, the other thing I wanted to mention is, since I know we were talking about, or you asked me rather, about grammar, is let's do that now. Let's talk a little bit about grammar. There was this one sentence that I found rather difficult. Take a look at this. For example, you start here, and then it keeps going, and then it keeps going, and then it stops here. So it's a little long. If an employee is joined at any low-level job. Now, see, some of this, it's just a lot of words that don't add meaning, but it just kind of muddles the meaning a little bit. Okay? And then here, besides obvious benefits, so this is something I would have liked to change a little bit, to change it around a little bit. So basically all this needed to be simplified. You could have said something like, for example, a survey conducted in the EU among the hotel industry or within the hotel industry showed that employees who started at a low-profile job but stayed for a long period had 63% higher chance of getting a key management position. Full stop. Okay? I mean, it's just a much cleaner, more easily readable way of saying more or less the same thing. And then if you wanted to add that there are obvious benefits, then you could have added that in a separate sentence. This is in addition to the obvious benefits, which include A, B, C, D. Okay? But you're already saying that here, so you don't need to talk about these obvious benefits. You're saying that loyalty bonus, gratuity, golden parachute, etc., etc. Okay? All right, now let's take a look at your next paragraph. On the other hand, skilled professionals are more benefited. We don't say it like this. So skilled professionals benefit more by changing their companies. Varying needs and regular upgradation. I don't know what that means. What does it mean, upgradation? Are you saying like they're upgraded? That's not a word. Okay? So it feels a little made up. In management and technology sectors, respectively, okay, is a rapidly happening phenomenon which demands up-to-date and fully rounded personnel. Simply put, skilled workers, including managers, medical and IT professionals, and even lawyers, are valued more highly if they can provide workable solutions, products of diverse knowledge gained from varied previous jobs, to emerging new problems. Wait, if they can provide workable solutions to emerging new problems. Okay. For such valuable knowledge, which is the byproduct of having worked at multiple workstations, if not more, one-time risk of switching is worthwhile. Okay. IMF found a nearly 46% hike in salary of skilled workers who kept on changing their company. No, you can't say then their counterparts. Wait, you could say IMF found a nearly, IMF found nearly 46% higher salary in skilled workers who kept changing their jobs than their counterparts who stayed at one job. That works. Thus, it is conclusively proved that professionally qualified, personnel, staff, whatever, should make job switches in their respective careers. All right, I had some trouble with this paragraph. I don't know if it was clear, but again, you had these really complicated sentences that don't have a particularly natural syntax to them. Okay, like this here too. I mean, you didn't need to put this parenthesis in here. All it did was just complicate the sentence. And then there were a couple of other ones as well. Let me see if I can find what I'm referring to. But actually, before we do that, I want to go through the paragraph one more time with you. Okay? On the other hand, skilled professionals benefit more by changing their companies. We already said that this didn't make sense. So, varying needs and I didn't know what this was trying to say. Just skill. Are you trying to say like skill? Maybe you mean professional development. Maybe that's what you mean. So varying needs and regular professional development in management and technology is a rapidly happening phenomenon which demands up-to-date and fully rounded personnel. So there are a couple of problems here. I didn't like rapidly happening phenomenon. It felt a little strange. I didn't like fully rounded. It's usually well-rounded. So why don't we try something like this? Why don't we try something like varying demands and an ever-changing needs in management and technology is a commonplace occurrence which demands up-to-date and well-rounded personnel. Okay? And then you wrote, simply put, skilled workers, including these people, are valued higher if they can provide workable solutions to emerging new problems. Such knowledge is usually the byproduct of having worked at multiple companies. Why don't we say that? Full stop. Therefore, the risk of switching jobs is, I wouldn't say it's worthwhile, it's actually necessary. It's kind of it's imperative that in order to be a competitive employee, you need to continue changing and learning new solutions and be an ever developing professional, really. Okay, so this sentence for me was really kind of problematic as well. And then we did this. So I kind of thought it took you a while to get to your point. Like, you kept talking about all these different things, and then it wasn't until the middle of the paragraph when you told us that, you know, it's because they changing jobs, they gain these skills, and they wouldn't gain these skills if they didn't change jobs. I would have liked to see that earlier in the paragraph. Okay, so rather than talking about varying needs, etc., you started off fine. Skilled professionals benefit more by changing their companies. This is because having multiple workplaces, or having experienced multiple workplaces, allows professionals to gain various skill sets and to develop workable solutions to emerging new problems. So you could have done it more like this, so that we knew what you were saying, and then you could have gone on to an example. You could have told us, you know, the other things you want to say. Okay. Did we read your conclusion? Let's read your conclusion. In conclusion, from the arguments, plural, and examples given, it is safe to say that, as a rule, workers should work at one place for their lives for increased perks and benefits. However, people with specialized skills can opt to change their jobs for their professional growth. It is predicted that such shifts from workstations in one segment of employees may influence others. Okay, now I got to be honest with you. When you said this thing in the beginning, you talked about employees, and then you talked about, where was it, skilled workers. I wasn't really sure what you were talking about, because I'm sure that a lot of employees would resent the implication that they are not skilled. Okay? So I didn't really like this differentiation, and I told you that in the beginning. And it wasn't really clear, like, who is considered an employee and who is considered a skilled worker. So I didn't really agree with that. And I thought it just made it really confusing. And I didn't actually understand who you were talking about until I got down here. Here, however, you made it a little clearer. Okay? So you said people with specialized skills. Okay? Again, maybe somebody who does whatever could say, well, you know, everybody has a specialized skill. But I think you could have made the differentiation clearer. This way we would have known who you were talking about, that certain professionals, more so than others, benefit from a change. For example, managers, people in high tech, these people benefit from changing positions. Okay? Engineers, whoever, I don't know. All right, pick people. But if you had made that kind of differentiation clearer, it would have been better. So what we found really was a lot of these awkward sentences. Do you have good grammar? Yes, you do. Of course you do. There's places where the grammar is lovely. It's advanced. It's very nice. But there are a lot of places where it just becomes complicated to read, and the examiner has to put forth a little bit of effort to understand what you're trying to say. Okay? Does it lose coherence? No, but there is some effort required. Okay? So keep that in mind, and let's go on to your English and Homestay letter. Dear Mr. J, I am writing to discuss my stay with all of you next month. As you might be aware of the fact that English and Homestay program has allotted me, Dr. Param from India, to live in your home for a fortnight, and the program manager has recommended to contact you for clarification to increase bonding experience. All right, check it out. Look, again, it's so long, okay? It doesn't need to be this long. You're writing to introduce yourself and to explain like why you're writing, but this was just a little, again, difficult to read. So let's try it again. I'm writing to discuss my stay with all of you next month. Well, you could do that, but I think it's even better to start with something even more straight to the point. I'm writing to discuss my stay with you next month as part of the English and Homestay program. Okay? Clear. Then, the program has assigned me, Dr. Param from India, to stay in your home for a fortnight. And so I wanted to introduce myself in advance of my stay. Okay, being a medical practitioner in India, I could be a helping hand at your dental clinic during free time. Okay? As you can understand, I am curious to find out about the actual weather-related queries there and transportation services in the cities of the UK. All right, now, it really would make a lot more sense if you explained to us, if you gave us a little topic sentence here, what this paragraph is about. You didn't do that. You just went straight into what you're curious about. So give it a nice topic sentence. And it could just be very simple. Just say, prior to my arrival in the UK, I have some questions that I would like to ask if possible. Okay. And then, as you can understand, I am curious to find out about the weather there. Get rid of actual weather-related queries. This is strange. So just about the weather there and transportation services in the cities of the UK. And then you don't need first of all, because that was your first of all. So I would appreciate it if you could settle the dilemma that originated from mixed opinions on the internet, whether I should pack rainwear or winter clothes, and if I needed an umbrella. It's okay. It's fine. Is it a little overcomplicated again? Yes, but it's okay. Above all, I would like to know about the different commutation facilities in the UK, as well as their prices so that I may devise my budget, as I might be using them frequently. Okay, I'm assuming by this you mean like transport. I'm assuming this is what you mean, but this is definitely the wrong expression here. So try to use the right vocabulary here. It should be, I would like to know the different transport options in the UK, as well as their prices, so that I may devise my budget as I might be using them frequently, and then that's fine. I will be arriving at Birmingham Airport, not next 16th, but December 16th at 7:30 a.m. via flight. This, as far as I could tell online, the metro from the airport would leave me quite near your residence in 2 hours. You could expect me around 11 a.m. at your doorstep. Your doorstep is okay. Doorstep singular, not S, sorry. Even though I have made this plan, I would like you to endorse it or suggest changes. Okay, I look forward to hearing from you. Thank you in advance. Yours sincerely. Okay, fine. So the good news about this is that it's all very formal, and that's great because it is a formal letter. So you did that very appropriately. As I already said, some of this was a little overcomplicated. Again, we already talked about that, this first paragraph here. And I wasn't really crazy about this expression, the dilemma that originated from mixed opinions on the internet. There were, again, cleaner ways of saying this. Okay? But it's a nice set. You're doing well. I know you're working hard. So since I know that you're concerned about where your score is for grammar, for me, it doesn't seem like you're making frequently accurate sentences. There is a fair amount of error throughout the essay or throughout the letter. You do have complex sentences, but I wouldn't say that it's the vast majority of your sentences. I would say that there are errors. Occasionally they impede communication. Okay, not all the time. It's not like it creates a strain, but there is some of this impeded communication here. Okay, some of it. So that should give you an idea of where you stand in terms of grammatical range and accuracy. I thought the vocabulary here was fine. Again, some of this didn't really feel totally natural. Okay, like allotted felt wrong. The dilemma felt a little inaccurate. Definitely actual weather-related queries felt wrong. So there's enough wrong vocabulary, again, that takes away from the overall effect of some of the good, accurate, higher level vocabulary. Okay? So your vocabulary here is what I would call risk-taking. You're taking risk, you're trying to use a lot of higher level words. Sometimes those risks work out for you and sometimes they don't. Okay, so all of this should give you an idea of where you are in terms of grammatical range and accuracy as well as lexical resource. With that, I want to wish you good luck on your next set, and I'll be waiting for them, so good luck.